And welcome everybody to another 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. Joining us today is community paramedic Sarrah Knapp. Thank you. She's incredibly popular on Facebook. We got a lot of great response when we announced that you were coming to see us, so I do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Got a couple things to go over first. First, I want to say happy Administrative Assistance Day to everybody out there, including my assistant Jessica, who has to deal with me on a daily basis. Moment of silence for her. Yes, thank you. But we do appreciate everything that she brings to us. Also wanted to give a huge shout out to our water department. So this is going to be a little bit of not a lengthy conversation, but some good information. Over the last week to 10 days, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 on the first page. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 water main breaks in and around Reynoldsburg. And one of the things that always people talk about is how quickly our water department actually gets out onto the scene. There's a couple of reasons for that. We all know that there's a lot of concern about the cost of water and the fact that council usually appropriates an additional percentage or 2% onto your water bill, but that money actually goes to help fix your water supply. So let's say that you have some of those water issues that you may have seen, especially if you live on, let's go with Rose Hill, Retton, middle of the road down over by Imperial Rose Place, edge of road, half of intersection over off Marvin Drive. So there's a lot of different places out there that have these issues. But in other cities that have issues, they will go out and they will survey it and they'll say, yep, we'll be back in 1 to 2 weeks, and that water just keeps on flowing. Because of what we're doing with our water department, and our water department team is awesome, they get out there within minutes of first learning about it, and then a team is called in to actually address and fix those kind of things. Now the reason why we're seeing a lot of these issues right now is, especially in the areas that we're talking about, they're older neighborhoods. These neighborhoods with the infrastructure were brought in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of what some of the pipes look like. So when we take them out of the ground, that's what the pipes look like. So you can see how brittle and how damaged they are, that we need to make sure we fix those. This is the interior of everything. So those are a lot of those issues, and what happens, especially now, in perfect day for it, it was 60 degrees yesterday, and now there's 2.5 inches of snow on the ground. That up and down of the temperatures has really played havoc with these water lines. We do allocate enough money every year to hit different areas. Obviously we do the repair work, but then we focus on other areas for major repairs all the way throughout the city every single year. Just when you have an aging infrastructure and limited resources, that's one of the things that's out there. We are hopeful, though, that some of the infrastructure bills that are moving at the federal level can help us address not only our roads, but also our sewers and our water supply systems all the way across. But bottom line story, congratulations and thank you all to the water department for getting out there and taking care of these things as quick as possible. You guys are awesome, and you earned every bit of relaxation that you have, which apparently hasn't been any in the last couple of weeks. Did also want to talk a little bit about code enforcement. So right now what we're having is we're having a lot of people out there that are getting their roofs taken care of, that are replacing windows, that are putting a fence up and things like that. And there is a permitting process that you're supposed to follow, but it's actually not for the benefit of the city, it's actually for benefit of the consumers. So let's just say that you have a house and you're getting windows redone. The person who's redoing your windows and replacing your windows should be in and have a permit in with the city that shows that they are licensed and bonded, meaning if something bad happens, that they are a reputable company, that they have insurance to take care of any issues that may come up. And that's the first reason. You want that kind of reassurance, because legitimate contractors are going to come out to Reynoldsburg and they're going to register. It's not very expensive, it's not a time-consuming process, but it helps allow to make sure that we get everything done the right way. The other part is sometimes those contractors might not be as honest with you as you think. They may be charging you the amount of money it costs for a permit fee. $50 here on a certain project that they're charging you, and if you never see proof that they're permitted, or you don't have one of our inspectors come out to make sure everything's being done, they may be pulling a fast one on you. So when you have those people coming in and they talk about it, make sure you ask to see the permit, make sure that you see it, so that way that you know what you're paying for, and nobody's kind of padding some of their excess costs on there. So those are a couple of big things in for code enforcement. We'll have some more pictures next week. If you've been out off Wagner Road, basically Main and Wagner, you'll have that area where the Donato's is, and there's a bank right there. That has actually gotten repaving, and that again is due to code enforcement, so shout out to them for continuing to move that on. There's actually even movement at the corner of Bryce and Main Street. They're going to be tearing some of that concrete up and putting some nice grass out there in advance of hopefully what will be out there with the Alliance as that moves closer to everything. All right, so boring stuff out of the way. Let's talk about what we're really here for. The extraordinaire community paramedic, Sarrah Knapp. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
It was a great idea. You've been good friends with my assistant for a long time,
Yes.
So we'll save a
Very
special
long
moment that
time.
you can share as many embarrassing stories
I would
about
love
her.
to, and pictures.
I love pictures. Those are great. So obviously COVID has impacted you a little bit differently because of your position, but just in general, what have you done to kind of get through it, to make yourself, or bring a little joy to yourself in this?
Well, I'll start with work. You know, I've been 18 years on the fire department, riding the trucks and stuff like that, and then I switched over to 5 days a week, seeing patients with this new job. And just seeing how it's impacting people and, you know, things like that has really brought me joy that it's working. And then, but it's also been a little bit of a wake-up call because a lot of things have been more on the phone because of COVID, more on emails because of COVID. So I kind of had this idea of what was going to go down. I was going to get to be in person with everybody all the time. And it really didn't work out that way at first. And it's still kind of working, you know, with phones and emails and, you know, talking on the telehealth stuff. But other than that, it's just the joy from doing the simple stuff for the patients, like the foundation things that we're trying to build, you know, the health problems, stuff like that, that I'm mainly focused on. But when you build that foundation and we see it working, that's what's bringing me joy. Because I've only been in this position for a little over a year. And it takes a while to see, like, you know, stuff coming back and is this working? Am I doing this right? Am I going at this angle the right way? And now to see it work that's what's bringing me joy, running the program and seeing that happen.
That's always a good thing. I know when I was first told about it, I thought how creative, how unique. It's not something
Yeah.
that I really had heard about before.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool thing. Now, as far as your role as a community paramedic, so give me your day-to-day, like how did somebody call you? Did they call 911 and then they just send you because of something? I mean, go through the process.
It actually isn't 911 based. The crews that do go out on the street that you guys see, they can give me a referral for somebody if they notice that a little bit more time needs spent with somebody. They'll send me a referral. I've got referrals from the police department where they've noticed, hey, maybe this person needs a little extra time or a little bit more resources or something like that. I now have the time, I'm blessed with the time to do that. So I get the referrals from them. People can call in if they've got a question or they need any kind of resources or they're just lost or what they're doing isn't working after a new illness or injury. People coming home from the hospitals give us referrals to go and check on people too. So they really, and then I get them from Jessica as well because a lot of times when people don't know who to call, they either call RPD or the city, and they're like, you know, help, and hopefully that resources are there. But with us all working together, it's kind of like we can go, okay, the city can help, you know, the police can help, Sarrah can help, and it just kind of gets referred out that way. So that's how, I mean, any way possible, if you get a hold of one of us, we'll all be talking. So we get that referral and we just go from there.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what are some of the more common issues that you face? What's like your, you know, the thing that happens the most often?
My nemesis is transportation. Finding transportation that's easy or quick, I would say, to get if somebody has a doctor's appointment and they're not driving or they're elderly, driving, going to the grocery store, things like that. So resourcing that out and setting that up. And then probably my next one, well, it is probably one of my biggest ones is transitioning from coming home from the hospital from an illness or injury, and let's say everything was fine and all of a sudden you have a new illness or injury and this isn't working and that's not working anymore and that's not working. I can come in and again resource help to come in. with my experience and then experience in my personal life with my family, I go, well, maybe this tip or trick will work and save you a little bit of time or make something a little bit easier. But it's just little things like that. But it's more transitioning, even from people at home who are in beginning stages of Alzheimer's and dementia, and the family's taking care of them and are like, oh, what's the next step? What do I do now? Or, hey, what's the next step to possibly looking into assisted living? Like, it's so overwhelming. How do I do that? And just tons of transitioning things, I think, in life. Like, it kind of ends up where they call and it's like, I need this right now because it's really quiet, and then all of a sudden you need a bunch of resources really fast. So it's pretty much been things like that. Assisted living, Alzheimer's, dementia, transitioning into hospice care has been a big one. Talking to families about that, because hospice there's a big misconception with hospice that if you go into the hospice care that, and people do, I mean, sometimes it's a short stay, sometimes it's a long stay working with hospice, but it doesn't mean you're passing away right now. It's just great care that stays with the patient, and people just think that, oh, I'm gonna die if I go on hospice. No, it's this really great care program, tons of resources, great things, and when you talk to the family about that, it kind of eases their stress on what hospice is and how great hospice care is and the resources that hospice brings. So that's another thing I deal with a lot. And then aging in place, a lot of the elderly are staying at home or staying with family members. So caregiving is one of my big things too, which often gets overlooked because your focus is on the patient or whoever's sick or injured, and I mean, there's just so much that goes along with meds, doctor's appointments, all these things, and the caregiver's back here holding it all together, and a lot of times nobody's focused on them. And if you don't have a caregiver that's like mentally strong, physically strong, knows what they're doing, if they start declining, then your patient does too. So I do a lot of focus on caregivers. It's usually if I have a patient in the house, I'm focused on both of them.
I mean, I can imagine the difficulty with that just in general, but how much I think that, and this is, again, I know you joke that it was basically your mom putting all the lights on Facebook.
Yes.
But I think that what it really is just, that there are a number of comments that I did see about how much that you've had an influence with it, that you've been able to help in some regard, and with some of those situations that people just aren't familiar with. I mean, there's no playbook on how to deal with Alzheimer's and dementia and some of these end of life care or going into hospice.
Right.
There's no easy way to do it, but just to have somebody to talk to kind of go through it is a great service, and I know that's very much appreciated all the way around.
Well, and that's why this job is so great, and like I was saying, it was, going back to your first question, like where do I find joy, is to have, I mean, just with my experience of being on the trucks for so long, there's always extra I wanted to do. I want to be like, oh, hey, maybe call this person or do that, but you don't have that kind of time on an EMS run. So with the fire department and the city, giving me this job where I have time, and that's what people need, and that's what people want. It's just everything's so fast, and instructions are fast, and take this medicine, it's so fast. Everything's so fast, and they get overwhelmed, and if that foundation isn't strong, then it usually goes downhill from there. And we don't want it to get to that. We don't want it to get where they're so overwhelmed they're calling 911. So that's where I come in, and I mean, if anybody has a question, I mean, no matter how small, that's where I come in and do small stuff. I mean, I do a lot of work on the phone, and like I said, contacting people through email, a lot of work that way, because it's resourcing a lot of it out. So it's like, just call me, and even if it's small, I mean, if that helps, that strengthens your foundation and makes a better recovery.
Well, I hope that when we get our social worker on the RPD
Yes,
side,
yes.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how the two of you can team up.
Yeah, we're really excited
Yeah,
about that.
Anytime that we can partner with Truro is always a good thing. I mean, we share the same city. I know I've talked to the Chief Sharps a number of times about doing some things to improve transportation issues when it comes to the fire department and things like that. So we're working on a lot of things to try and get that done. But Unfortunately, I've seen Truro and West Licking in action recently, and how quick you are there in terms of everything else. I don't think people realize what that's all about. Just how quickly you're able to handle and assess a situation on those emergency basis, and how quickly things burn. I don't think people realize that. I mean, we've all seen the controlled stuff, and you do something at the Tomato Festival or things like that, and we all get it. And I know I remember taking my kids down to the firehouse when they were younger to try the at like half pressure or third pressure on the fire hose and stuff like that. But when you actually see it in action, it's a great thing, terrifying, but a great thing all the way around.
Well, it is amazing how fast everything happens. Like, you watch flash floodwaters on TV and you're like, oh, that's crazy. But when you see it in real life, it's just so much faster, and you're like, this is just a big wake-up call. I've seen this on TV. I've seen a tornado on TV, but I think until you experience it, how fast these emergencies happen, and how you need, the fire department, the police department to be there that quick.
Yeah.
It's got to be really fast.
Well, we're not going to allow any tornadoes or fires.
No.
We're done with that. Do we have any questions starting off?
No, not this time.
I do have one question. So you said that you and my assistant have been good friends. Are there any good stories that you can share about that are really embarrassing?
Well, it's hard for me to call Jessica because I don't know what grade we were in, but I don't know if we came up with different names for each other, but I call her Larry. And I don't know where it came from or what. But I said, I gotta remember to call Jessica, because Larry's gonna slip and everyone's gonna be like, why are you calling her Larry? That was probably in middle school.
Now, if I had known that before when I was thanking my administrative assistant, I would have totally gone into it and went with Larry. Well, I appreciate I appreciate that, and I will always remember Larry. I will.
Definitely don't forget that.
Now, I know you have a lot of things to do, that you're very busy, and I do appreciate taking some time. You're more than welcome to stay, or if you have other lives to save that are more important, please, by all means, you are more than welcome to go.
Oh, no, I'll definitely stay. That's okay.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and kind of move on again. If you have questions out there, feel free. We do have a couple of community cleanup days coming up. This Saturday from 10 a.m. to around 1-ish, apparently in the rain, so be ready for that. There will be a litter pickup on Taylor Road. Everybody's going to be meeting at the Kroger parking lot on Taylor and Main Street, so we can go walk up and down Taylor and pick up some of the litter that's out there. That's organized by Councilman Louis Salvati and Councilman Boone Paccarel, as well as a number of other individuals. We also have a little bit of information of our June 6th litter contest. We have actually gotten some pretty good sponsors for this. We're going to be putting it out there real soon so people can actually gather litter the week of June 5th through the 12th. Gather as much litter as they can, send a picture to us about what they've collected, and then for everyone to submit something, you'll be entered into a drawing for some gift cards. We have sponsors of Wendy's, Nothing Bundt Cake, Ohio Select, Raider Nutrition, Starstruck, and Canes are going to be giving out gift cards for people that are helping do their part to make Reynoldsburg a little bit more pretty, a little bit more beautiful all the way around. Our big community cleanup day, as I mentioned before, is actually going to be moved to October 16th. Because of COVID, we're having a hard time getting some of the vendors like the shredded truck and things like that in. So we're going to move that to October 16th. It'll be in the morning. We're going to have our shredder truck there. We're also going to be taking hazardous materials as well. So we'll have a list of what those hazardous materials are all about, so make sure you have those going on. We have a couple of other more fun events. We have a walk in the park, a brand new breaking news, a walk in the park with myself and Shanette Strickland, your councilwoman from Ward 1, at Civic Park. We've had a lot of good conversations about some improvements to Civic Park. I know the chief actually sat in on a couple of these. So we're going to go ahead and take some time on May 22nd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to go walk around Civic Park, and we're going to show some of the plans and the potential designs that might come out to Civic. So we'll talk about disc golf, we'll talk about the dog park, we'll talk about the amphitheater, and kind of lay it out so we're on site and looking at things so everybody kind of gets an idea. And it's a great opportunity to continue to get public feedback on it. I know a lot of people are excited with it. We're just trying to make sure that we get everything right, and we'll talk more about how we're phasing it in and when things are going to be looking to start out there at Civic. The ultimate goal, if you haven't seen it, we're hoping to get an actual bridge on the other side from Rose Hill to actually connect into the park. For one, to help alleviate traffic concerns when it comes to like the 4th of July and things like that, or if we have other festivals, if the Tomato Festival that goes there. It's not going to be a through race. It's not a drag race from Rose Hill to Lancaster, but it'll be something where they, if fire trucks need to get in, they can do so, or we can have a little bit of an entrance, and then on those special occasions, we can kind of get people out of Civic Park a little bit faster,
Oh, yeah.
things like that.
Great.
So that is ultimately the goal, in addition to all the real fun stuff, like a splash pad and kayak launching and things like that. So some really cool ideas that we're working out there. We also have our 4th of July Parade Grand Marshal nominations are available from the Community Association. So big shout out to the Community Association for pushing forward with that. The 4th of July Parade is going to be on Saturday, July 3rd at 10 a.m. You should be able to go onto their website if you're inputting, if you're registering to have something out there. They're being awesome and helping out with the local businesses. If they want to have something in the parade, they're not going to be charging them. But those politicians, they're getting every penny out of them, so remember that. So the politicians are going to have to pay for those. So you've got that going on. We also have some great events coming up that you'll be hearing about. The Artist and Makers Market on June 5th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that's going to be where, Jennifer?
The Livingston House.
At the Livingston House, because I always get that wrong. Basically, it's going to be very similar to like a farmer's market, but it's going to be more novelty and like things you can put in your house and things like that. Some actual art and some kind of interesting little things that are out there. I know we've got a lot of interest already from vendors that are coming out to actually go out and do this. It is going to be socially distanced and all of that, so we're going to go ahead and do that at the Livingston House again on June 5th from 11 to 6. So kind of keep your ears and eyes open for that one. Our Music in the Cul-de-sac will be beginning on Thursdays on June 3rd. So randomly, you're going to have a concert somewhere in the city of Reynoldsburg every Thursday throughout the summer. We're going to have a great variety of music coming out there. Just a little something to do it. I will probably, if I'm allowed to, hint at where potentially some of these may be happening the day before on the 12 o'clock show. So instead of you having to race all around Reynoldsburg to find out where the best music is, I may give you a hint the day before, but we'll see on that one. And then our Concerts on the Lawn series is going to begin in June again at the Livingston House, correct?
Yep.
Yep, so we've got that. And we'll announce who those people are going to be in the not too distant future. Any questions so far?
We do have one about the Civic Park improvement.
Yes.
And it wants to know if the plans include to fix the flooding on the path in the back.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, it's as, we can get into the weeds as possible on this, but yeah, we are going to be addressing a lot of those things. We want to make sure that we address any potential flooding issues that will actually even help out some of the neighborhoods that are by Civic Park. So we can do some water retention ponds, some bioswales, some natural things to kind of soak up that water to try and reduce any of the ancillary flooding that might occur in other areas or on the park itself. Yes. All right, so outside of that, Parks and Rec has a couple of cool events coming up. Actually, this Saturday is going to be celebrating Earth Day at Pine Quarry Park. And you'll be able to do some bare root planting, which is as pretty much as it seems. You have a plant that has bare roots, and you dig a hole and put the plant in and fill it with dirt, and then there you go. I think there's about 250 plants that they're looking to put out there at Pine Quarry this weekend. The dirt will be nice and easy to move because it will be raining, so there we go. If that's not an advertisement for fun, I don't know what is. So I know I'm going to try and split my time a little bit, do a little bit at Pine Quarry, and then go do some litter cleanup at Taylor Road. So I hope to see a lot of people out there this weekend. Again, socially distanced. The plants are going to be spread out a little bit. Not everybody's going to be in one location. We also have Plant Reynoldsburg Day here, where we're going to be doing some planting right around City Hall and a little bit of beautification. That will be on May 22nd. So that's actually the same day as the Civic Park thing. So Councilwoman Strickland and I are going to plant some flowers and things like that, go home, shower, and then not smell when we meet you at Civic Park to talk about some other things. So we've got that going on as well. And stay tuned for some Arbor Day information on April 29th here at City Hall as well. So we've got a lot of things coming up. We've had a great couple of Tomato Festival meetings. The Tomato Festival is on track. Jennifer and I actually went out with Brian McGuire from our Parks and Rec department the other week and started spacing out some things, and we met with some of our vendors and talking about where things are going to go, and it's going to look really good. We've got a great program coming up. A lot of cool things to do every single day, so I'm looking forward to that. If you want to volunteer and be a part of this, please go ahead and join us every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. We do a Facebook Live Zoom call to join in if you want to volunteer. The last meeting, we had 2 volunteers at the same time that were brand new, that nobody knew, and that was awesome. Anytime you get new volunteers, and they're like, what can we do? And we're like, we'll come up with something. We'll have something. We also have a National Missing Children's Day event on May 15th at Reynoldsburg United Methodist Church from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. A lot of this is going to include information about community information, fingerprinting for kids, the canine units may be out there, and some discussions on fire safety as well. So a lot of things to do with children, because again, that's some of our most vulnerable, and it's always good to get information about how we can be proactive to prevent some of those things. Told you, got a lot of things going on in the city of Reynoldsburg. We do also have the Reynoldsburg Chamber of Commerce golf outing on Friday, May 14th at Westchester Golf Club. It's $85 per person, and it's a 4-person scramble. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and check out the website, get a foursome together and go out and hit some clubs. All I know is that no one wants me out there because my version of a 4-person scramble is people running away from me as I swing because they have no idea where that ball's going to go. We also have our blessing boxes that are located all the way throughout Reynoldsburg. I know a couple of them actually got improved over the last week, so keep an eye out for those. The need is great for some of those less fortunate in the community, but our Facebook page does a really good job of updating which blessing boxes are full, which one need a little help, things like that, so go ahead and keep an eye on those. Nothing really in terms of development this week. It's actually kind of a quiet week right now. There's just a lot of things that are getting closer to coming back. So hopefully we'll have some good news in the next couple of weeks. But there is no show next week, unfortunately. I've been asked to be a guest on the Columbus Metropolitan Neighborhood Spotlight, exploring neighborhoods focused on Reynoldsburg. So Director Bauscher and I and a couple of local business members, members of the business community are going to go, and we're going to talk about Reynoldsburg and what's going on there from the Columbus Metropolitan Club. So we're really looking forward to that. We will have a link because it's actually going to start, I believe, at the same time that a 12 o'clock show normally would. So you'll still have the chance to hear me, just not as many bad jokes. So we've got that going on. With that, again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. It's a fan. I look forward to seeing your comments from your mom on Facebook later. It's going to be pretty cool. There we go. Hey, it's enjoy it while we can. So, with everything else, everybody, try and stay warm on this snowy April 21st. Stay safe, stay respectful, and again, as always, please put your shopping carts away. It's not that hard. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you.